Hello, I'm Mr. Gray, and I would like to welcome you to my art classroom. Now, the videos I'm going to be uploading over the next few weeks are lessons that I actually teach to my students. If you are one of my students or one of my future students and you'd like to know a little bit about what's going on in the class or what to expect, that's why I made this video. If you are a teacher who's looking to expand your classroom and possibly give more art lessons, you can follow along with these lessons as well. Or if you are a stay-at-home parent who is trying to give your child the best opportunity for an art education, you can follow these lessons too. All of these lessons are ranked in difficulty level ranging from Art 1 to Art 4, and it can be adjusted for middle school or high school, depending on the lessons that you're going to be teaching. So in my classroom, all of my lessons, or all of my classes, follow the same basic principles. I always teach the basics, and then I dive into some drawing. I also incorporate painting, and then whenever needed, we also cover art history in our presentations. Now let me break down each class and explain to you what you could expect to see in the classroom. We're going to start at Art 1, and Art 1 is what I teach more like a 6th grade level, or if you are in high school, you could think of this as a freshman level or an introduction into art. So, Art 1, it's the elements of art. Then we go into how you can improve your drawing, so basic drawing skills. Then we go into grid drawings, coloring pencil, perspective, and we also cover painting in there as well. The lessons that I have listed on the right are lessons that we might get to if we get the chance or the opportunity. If time permits and we go through all the lessons on the left, then the lessons on the right, which are in blue, are ones that we can look into. However, if we don't get to these lessons, that's fine because they will be covered in Art 2. Art 2, I normally teach to my 7th graders. However, if you are in a high school environment, you can think of these lessons as a sophomore grade level. These lessons include a crash course through the elements of art. So essentially, it is the same thing that we covered in Art 1. It's just a recap, so it doesn't last nearly as long. Next, we go into the principles of design, which the principles of design is a little bit more advanced than the elements of art, so we cover that more in depth. Then we go into how to improve your drawing. So we have several drawing lessons, including a 1 and a part 2 of how to improve your drawing. We go into more advanced grid drawings, chalk pastels, pointillism, the basics of painting and mixing paints, portrait drawings, and then we get into 1-point perspective. Again, the list on the right includes lessons that we can get to if the time allows. Next, we cover Art 3, which is more of an 8th grade level or a junior level in high school. These, again, we cover the basics, elements of art, which more like a recap, principles of design, again, more like a recap. And then we go into how to improve your drawings 1, 2, and 3. We go into larger grid drawings, impressionism, acrylic and watercolor painting. We teach pop art, art meaning, and all kinds of different art histories. If time allows, we also go into art critiquing, 2-point perspective, and lots of different other techniques. Then we go into Art 4. Art 4 is more of an advanced class. An Art 4 class is used for my students who are in 8th grade that have had all the previous art classes and still want to pursue art a little bit further. Or you can think of it in a high school setting as being senior art. In Art 4, I teach how to maintain your art supplies. I teach how to present and mount your artwork. And I also teach you how to refine your work. And most importantly, how to work independently. That means that you are coming up with your own ideas and executing them and following through with it and making your own artwork. So let's explain what you can expect throughout the year as far as showing your work or things like that. Throughout the year, there will be plenty of opportunities for you to show your work. We always have at least one art show. Then we also have school plays that get put on, in which our art students create the props. Then we always have at least one group assignment that I try to give for all of my grades, where they can make something and show the school what they were making. For instance, some of the pictures we have below, on the left-hand side, you can see an image from the art show. In the middle, you can see one of our group assignments for 7th grade. And on the right-hand side, you can see an all-grade group assignment where they were making a turtle. Both the Spider-Man and the turtle are currently on display in our school. So let me explain the classroom expectations. Now these expectations, these are ones that I put forth in my classroom, and I also expect you to follow them if you're following along with us at home too. Something I'd like to point out, and I always tell my students about this. This classroom, I grade you a little bit differently than what you may have expected or what you may have experienced previously. In my classroom, I do not grade you based on completing work. Instead, I grade you based on your work ethic. That means that I do not care if a work is completed. I care that you worked on it. That means that if you work really diligently all 3 days on the assignment and you do not get it finished, you can still get a good grade. On the other hand, if you work on it and try your hardest to get it done on the first day, but you don't do anything the second or third day, you're only going to get a third of the final grade. And that's because you did not work on it as much as you could have. Now, if you do get done with an assignment and you're completely done and you don't see any other thing that you can work on with it, then there's always other opportunities because, and the third bullet down, there is always going to be at least 2 assignments going on in my class. In fact, most of the time we have 3 or 4 assignments going on at one time. So, in case you do get done with one assignment, you can always move over and work on a previous assignment or work on the next assignment. Something else to know about my classroom. Assignments that are not turned in by the due date will automatically go in as a 0. That does not mean that it is a permanent 0. You just have to turn the work into me. As soon as you turn it into me, I will adjust the score to whatever it needs to be. Next, you are going to be responsible for yourself. I tell this to my students, and I'm going to tell it to you. I am not your mother. I am not going to pick up after you, and you are going to be responsible for your own messes. I will always teach you how to use the supplies. I will teach you how to gather supplies. I will teach you how to clean supplies. And I will teach you how to put them back up. It's your responsibility to take care of it. If you do not take care of the art supplies will not be there for you to use next time. So keep that in mind. No one else is going to take care of it for you. You are going to be responsible for cleaning up your own messes. And even if you are staying at home and you are doing these assignments in your own space, please know that your legal guardian would be very grateful if you did pick up after yourself. Believe it or not, they don't really like to wait on you hand and foot for everything. You need to pick up your own mess. Next, the lessons that I teach are lessons of self-motivation. At the beginning of my lessons, you're not going to have a whole lot of leeway as to say what you're going to do or where you're going to go with your work or things like that. But as the lessons progress, you get more and more freedom with your work. That means that as the lessons go on, you can actually start doing work that you want to do, and you get more say in the projects that you get to do. So let's go on down to the classroom rules. I have 5 classroom rules, and I'm going to go over these more in depth in class, but right now for the video, I'm just going to keep it very short and brief. The 5 rules that I have are called the 5 respect rules. Rule number 1, respect each other. No name calling, shoving, or pushing, or anything like that. Rule number 2, respect the work. That means that you are not going to be hurting, damaging, stealing, or destroying anyone else's stuff. 3, respect the art supplies. That means that we have nice art supplies, so you need to take care of the nice art supplies, and that's why we have them. 4, respect the school. the school rules still apply in the classroom, so please follow the school rules. And 5, respect yourself. I never want to hear you say you can't do something. Because guess what? At some point in your life, you couldn't do something that you can now do. That means that yes, we all learn how to do things. Just because you can't do something now doesn't mean you can't do it later. Don't say you can't do something. If you want to know how to do something, ask me. That's why I'm here. I can always show you how to do things. And these are all student examples that were created last year by my students. These are lessons that I typically teach for my 7th grade called digital painting. Now I do have some of my 8th graders that worked on this as well because we dive into that there too. But for the 7th graders, this is some of their work. This is a lesson that I teach to all my classes and it's drawing. Basic drawing lessons. We always cover drawing in all of my classes. Next is painting. Again, this is something that I typically teach to my 7th grade and we dive more into it in 8th grade. And then these are some of my assignments that I teach to my advanced art class, which is VHS tape art. Now, if there is a lesson that I do not teach and you would like to learn more about it, let me know. Leave a comment. Let me know what you're interested in, and I'll see if I can make a lesson about it. For instance, the photography lesson, I typically do not teach this in my class, but I had several students request it, so I had a photography lesson. Next, this is also a 7th grade lesson, which is pointillism. And then comes to the group projects. I always try to give at least one group project per grade per year. And these group projects typically get displayed in the school at some point. I would like to thank you very much for watching. If you have a question for me or you have something you'd like to ask, go ahead, leave a comment down below. I always try to answer all the questions as soon as I can. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If you are a student or a teacher and you'd like to use some of these lessons or follow along with us, go ahead, ring the bell, and subscribe to us. We're going to try to be uploading lessons throughout the next couple weeks. I'm going to try to get all my lessons uploaded with the grade levels so you can follow along with us if you need to. I'll see you in the classroom. Thank you very much for watching.